Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 3 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got news out of Wayne County where 2 people have been now accused and charged with stealing from a cemetery. Between November 2025 and January 2026, Wayne Memorial Park reported about 200 missing bronze vases from its gravesites on Highway 117 South. 35-year-old Lewis Honeycutt and 45-year-old Crystal Yancey were identified as suspects in the thefts. They were each charged with 26 counts of disturbing a casket/grave marker, misdemeanor larceny, possession of stolen property, and obtaining property by false pretense. The two were taken to the Wayne County Jail on a $150,000 secured bond. Anyone who finds a missing vase from a loved one's gravesite is asked to call the Wayne County Sheriff's Office at 919-731-1481. You can find that number on our website, WITN.com. Now, we also again want to turn our attention to the ongoing unrest in Minnesota after 2 fatal shootings involving ICE agents in the Minneapolis area. NBC's Garrett Hake has more.
The public uproar over the weekend killing of Alex Preddy by federal agents following President Trump as he tried to focus on the economy yesterday.
We're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation.
He was also asked if he agreed with early statements from officials in his administration, including top advisor Stephen Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, that Preddy was a domestic terrorist.
I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. But hey, look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident.
2 Republican senators joining Democrats Tuesday calling for the ouster of Noem.
I've lost confidence in her. We would be better served with new leadership at the department.
She has taken this administration into the ground on an issue that we should own.
The president, who met with Noem for hours in the Oval Office Monday night, standing by her.
I think she's doing a very good job. The border is totally secure.
As White House staff scrambled to deal with the fallout from the shooting, one of those GOP senators also criticizing Miller, an architect of Trump's immigration policy, who called Preddy an assassin soon after the shooting.
Stephen Miller never fails to live up to my expectations of incompetence.
Miller, in a new statement, attempting to shift scrutiny to Border Patrol agents, saying they may not have followed protocol during the incident. Trump also facing questions about his staffing changes in Minneapolis, including the reassignment of another controversial figure who had been the face of the administration's efforts there. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino sent back to his sector in California.
Bavino's very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy, and in some cases that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here.
And again, that was Garrett Hake reporting. We now want to turn to your weather forecast. Of course, all attention being paid to this upcoming weekend, and rightfully so. We really don't have a whole lot of change coming our way over the next 2 days. It's going to be cold again tomorrow. It's going to be sunny again tomorrow, and it will be a little bit breezy tomorrow. Coming up on Friday, same story. We won't see any sort of noticeable change in the forecast until we get into the upcoming weekend. So for right now, this is what we've got outside, and we aren't going to be spending too much time on what we're going to see for the rest of tonight. Air temperatures are going to be dropping back down into the low to mid 20s by tomorrow morning. Right now, we've got 39 degrees in Greenville. Feels like 34, though, when you factor in that west-southwesterly breeze. It is clear, it is sunny, but it is also dry. Dew points highlight that. 14 degrees right now. That is a very dry air mass that's currently set up over eastern North Carolina, and it's going to get drier. It will get drier between now and Saturday. How it's going to do that? 2 cold fronts rolling across the east. One will happen possibly later on this evening into the early hours of your Thursday morning. And that will drive air temperatures down a little bit more from what we're seeing right now, upper 30s to low 40s. We're going to look more at the upper 30s across most of the east for tomorrow. Here's a look at that first cold front working its way across the east, and then it's going to be followed again by a secondary one. That secondary one really locks in the cold air needed for any sort of snowfall to happen. Now, the snowfall source is that area of low pressure you're seeing over Mississippi. It is not going to be staying over land. It's going to do a little dive into the Gulf and then cruise over northern Florida and then work its way into, well, by eastern North Carolina. But before that, it is going to help swing just based on its counterclockwise circulation. It will help swing colder air back into eastern North Carolina coming up over this weekend and extending into next week. This is Saturday, cold air really driving its way south. A lot of that cold air fully makes it into the east on Sunday, and that's again when we were going to be kind of seeing the closest pass to eastern North Carolina for that area of low pressure. And the closer it gets, the more warm air it could bring to the east. But seeing this, again, only reinforces that belief that air is going to be staying cold enough through the weekend in order to get the stuff that falls from the sky, likely going to be snow, to stick on the grounds. Now, could some areas, particularly along the coast, possibly see some sleet and freezing rain mix in as well? Absolutely. Yes, that is still certainly a possibility. Right now, I'd actually say for the immediate coast, that's looking likely. That is looking likely that initially it's not going to be just snowflakes for the coast. We'll start out by, again, seeing a little bit of a freezing rain to sleet to then snow mixture. But inland areas, I think, are going to be cold enough to support those snowflakes right out of the gate. So here's, again, another look at a zoomed-in picture of this system as it starts to get going. There you can see raindrops coming down along the Outer Banks from Cape Lookout, extending all the way up towards Oregon Inlet. As we head further inland, again, you're seeing kind of that pink dividing line. That is your mix zone, or the line where we see the rain snow line kind of trying to set itself up along the coast. And then beyond that, further off to the west, you're seeing a lot of snowflakes coming down. That is a little bit of a lighter precipitation profile than what we saw yesterday, which again would impact our snowfall totals. That's another reason why we have not put out an estimate on snowfall totals yet. That is coming up for tomorrow evening, so be sure to tune in for that. As far as what we've got early Sunday morning, the whole system is going to be pulling its way out into the Atlantic, away from eastern North Carolina. But also during this time, it's very important to note that we could be seeing very strong winds, strong enough to potentially create some flooding conditions. This is one that I think Ocracoke, specifically Ocracoke, but possibly other areas along the Outer Banks could be impacted by some sound side flooding. May see some ocean side flooding initially along the northern Outer Banks, essentially from Oregon Inlet northward, as this system again gets going. But with more of a northwesterly breeze, that usually plays into more sound side flooding along the Outer Banks and ocean side flooding. Ocean side, you're usually looking at easterly to northeasterly winds, and that will be the case early in this system's development. But at this point, Sunday, again, strong winds expected. The good news is, as that low pressure system pulls away from the east, we should see those winds slowly calm down a bit. But it is going to, again, be a very breezy time period, and that could certainly be dangerous. Big reason why is that the stronger the winds blow, the better chances there are of power outages. Normally in snow events, we don't usually see power outages. Usually that comes once you get freezing rain added to the mix. Once freezing rain gets in, that's when, okay, power outages become far more common. But with a lot of snowfall coming down, tree branches are still going to be weighted down, but the winds could certainly help crack some of those tree branches as well. It's certainly not going to be quite as dangerous, or I would say impactful, as freezing rain would be in a power outage situation. I think freezing rain takes the cake as far as the biggest headache in terms of power outages go. But this snow system, again, could leave some without power just based on the winds alone. So that is something I know some areas, some people really aren't talking about or even thinking about, that we do want to highlight for you guys. We want to first alert you to that danger, particularly for areas that do see some stronger winds. Outer Banks, talking about you guys. Now, here's a look at your full 8-day forecast. And again, over the weekend, we will not be getting above freezing. 28 degrees on Saturday, 27 on Sunday. Overnight lows in the mid-teens. 15 degrees Saturday night, 16 degrees Sunday night. it is going to be a cold one. It's going to be windy, it will be snowy, and I would advise everyone to avoid driving as much as possible once those flakes start to come down Saturday morning. The more driving you do, the more you just open yourself up to an accident, to getting in a wreck, and that nobody's looking for that. Nobody wants that. So again, do yourself some favors. Get what you need to ride out a snowy weekend in eastern North Carolina today, tomorrow, or at the very latest Friday. And then again, try to keep yourself off of the roads on both Saturday and Sunday. I promise you will be pleased looking at your car on Monday, seeing no dents, no scrapes, no scratches by not going out, then of course taking the risk of really dinging things up if you were to go out on the roads. Now, coming up next week, air temperatures return to the low to mid 40s, particularly Wednesday and Thursday. We are expecting to see the snow, any snow that does, again, actually stick to the ground, which I'm assuming is actually going to be most of it, will still be present as we wake up on Monday. Monday road conditions are still going to be rough. Obviously, DOT crews will likely be out and about trying to clear those roads, but Monday is, again, looking like a day that is still going to be very much impacted by the snow we're going to see over the weekend. With air temperatures only reaching the mid-30s, we will see a little melt, but we will not see enough melt to, again, completely solve the problem. That goes away once we get to Tuesday afternoon. I think once we hit 40 degrees under completely sunny skies, we'll have a much faster melting process, and then we'll get back to at least closer to normal by the tail end of next week. We won't get to normal, but we'll get closer. Well, that's all we have time for today's 3 p.m. News and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Heather Falvo just wanted to note Windsor. Heather, right now we are not putting out any sort of snowfall estimates, but for Windsor, right now you guys are looking at snow for both Saturday and Sunday. At this point, that's all I can confidently tell you, but I know you're probably looking for an actual number to again go with your request for Windsor's forecast. But again, the map of snow accumulation totals, what we're anticipating to see, we'll be putting that out coming up tomorrow, because at that point, model data should be fairly locked in on the true solution, or at least close enough to give us the confidence to put out those numbers and make sure, again, that they're accurate and not just a super wide range that really isn't all that helpful for anyone. All right, that's all we have time for. I know I continue to just keep rambling here, but we'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the First Alert Desk at 4.